We've now learned how to make a pretty complete web page with all sorts of marked up text and images, but it's lacking something: style. My web page here looks the same as the web pages you've been making. Black text, white background, same font, everything laid out from top to bottom. But you've been on the web and you've seen that web pages can look very different from each other. Look around on Khan Academy at all different colors and fonts and sizes. In fact, let's do this now. Pause this talk through and look at a few different websites. What's different about each of them? What do you like or dislike about their style? I'll just wait right here. It's important to see how different web pages can be because pretty soon you'll figure out how to make your web pages look different, and you want to do that in a way that makes you happy because it represents you, but it also makes other users happy too. Well, to style our web pages, we need to learn a whole new language, CSS. That stands for Cascading Style Sheets, and it's a way of defining styles that will apply to different parts of our web page. We embed CSS inside of HTML, but it isn't actually HTML, so we have to learn a whole new language and try not to confuse HTML with CSS. We'll see how we can use CSS to style all sorts of aspects of our web page, like the fonts, sizes, and layouts, but we'll start with something that's pretty fun: color. How about we change some headings on our web page to a nice grassy green? To start, we need to add a style tag to the head of our page. When the browser sees that, it will think, okay, everything inside here is CSS. I'll use my CSS parser to understand it instead of my HTML parser. Inside here, we'll add a CSS style rule. A style rule has a selector, which tells the browser what part of a web page to style, and declarations, which tell the browser how to style that part. If we want to style all the H2s on our page, we'll type the selector H2, and then we'll do curly braces. Make sure they're curly, not square or round. Those won't work. Inside, we'll put our declarations, which have properties and values. So to change the text color, we use the color property. Then we put a colon, and now we need to come up with a value. We need to tell the browser what color we're interested in. Well, we could just write green, and it would understand it because green's a common color. But that's not the green I wanted. I want a grassy green. If I write grassy green, now the browser gets confused and makes the headings black again because it's never heard of grassy green. If we want to be able to specify any color at all, then we need to use something called the RGB spectrum, which maybe you've heard about in art class. You don't need to be an expert in it though, because we have an RGB color picker for you here. To use it, just replace this with RGB parentheses, and a color picker will pop up. And you can move your mouse inside of it and pick a color, and you can see the color update in real time. And when you're happy, click. Now, do you notice how there were 3 numbers that it changed in our RGB parentheses? That's the red, green, and blue components that make up that color. Okay, the neat thing about this CSS selector, H2, that we used is that it selects all of the H2s on the page. So we can change multiple headlines because we want all of those H2s to be green. And it's consistent for all those H2s it finds on the page. If you keep going with CSS, you can learn about many other ways of selecting parts of a page, like if you only wanted one of those H2s, but you can go pretty far with these tag-based selectors. Let's add another CSS style rule, this time to make the background a sky blue. How would we color the background on a page? Well, which tag encompasses the whole page? It's not the H1s, it's not the Ps, not the image, it's the body tag. Remember, everything visible is always inside that body tag. So if we want to style the entire page, we need to use a selector to select that tag. So we'll write body. Now, instead of color, we'll write background color, colon, and then RGB, parentheses. We get our color picker, and I'll pop it up and pick a blue that makes me think of frolicking bunnies and cumulus clouds. Ta-da! Look at my stylish page. There are hundreds more CSS properties besides color and background color, but those ones are fun to get started with. In fact, after I'm done talking, play around with the colors I picked and customize this page to be more your style than mine. Okay? Go!